Your mind talks to you all the time, even when you think you're silent. It's that voice that tells you that you can't, that doubts you, that repeats old wounds as if they were absolute truths. But it can also be the voice that lifts you up when everything seems to fall, the one that reminds you that you're still here, standing, breathing. What differentiates a life dominated by chaos from one guided by calm is not luck nor destiny. It's the type of conversation you have with yourself every day. If your internal dialogue is filled with fear, guilt, and self-criticism, your mind will become a battlefield. But if you learn to talk to yourself with wisdom, with firmness, and with purpose, your mind will become your temple. It's not magic, it's training. What you repeat to yourself shapes your perception, and your perception defines your reality. If every day you talk to yourself with the same harshness with which your worst memories talk to you, you will continue to be a prisoner of them. But if you consciously choose to repeat words of virtue, serenity, and strength, something begins to change. The mind obeys what it hears frequently. 2 days are enough to open a crack of light in the darkness. Stoicism teaches that whoever masters their internal dialogue masters their destiny. It's not about lying to yourself, but directing your attention to what strengthens you. Talking to yourself with wisdom is not being soft on yourself, it's being fair. And when you learn to be fair with yourself, the world loses its power over you. Master your inner voice. Your mind can be your best ally or your worst enemy. Inside you, there is a voice that never shuts up, a voice that accompanies you in moments of calm and screams at you in times of chaos. That voice is powerful, but it is not always wise. Sometimes it repeats words that are not yours, but echoes of what others said about you. You are not enough. You are going to fail. It's not worth trying. And without realizing it, you start to believe them. You speak to yourself with fear. You judge yourself harshly, and worst of all, you treat yourself with a cruelty you would never use against someone else. Mastering your inner voice does not mean silencing it, but educating it. Because if you do not learn to govern it, it will end up governing you. The mind, when not trained, becomes a tyrant, but when disciplined, it becomes a sage. Every thought you repeat is like an order that your brain obeys. If you say, "I can't," it weakens you. If you say, "I am capable," it begins to look for ways to achieve it. It's not a pretty phrase, it's biology. Your mind responds to what you give it. The words you use within you activate emotions, and these emotions shape your decisions. That's why a single thought repeated many times can build or destroy your destiny. Stoicism teaches that true power is not in changing the external world, but in directing the internal dialogue. Marcus Aurelius put it clearly, your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. If your inner voice is stained with fear, life will seem hostile. But if it is tinged with serenity, even pain becomes a lesson. Speaking to yourself with wisdom is not an act of blind optimism, it's an act of responsibility. It's telling yourself the truth without destroying you, correcting you without humiliating you, demanding of you without nullifying you. Mastering your inner voice is like taming a fire. At first it burns. The mind will resist you. It will try to drag you back to its old phrases, to its usual noise. But if you persevere, that fire turns into light. You don't need to eliminate your negative thoughts. You need to lead them. When they appear, look at them and say, "I no longer believe in you." That's how you disarm them. That's how you start to take control. Practice it every day. Observe how you talk to yourself when you make a mistake, when you fail, when you compare yourself. Instead of insulting yourself, correct yourself. Instead of giving up, remind yourself that you are learning. That small change of tone transforms the course of your life. Because a mind that feels understood begins to heal. Don't expect perfection, seek awareness. Every time you catch yourself attacking yourself, stop and change the language. Don't say "I'm a mess," say "I'm in process." Don't say "I can't," say "not yet." Don't say "nobody understands me," say "I'm understanding myself." That daily reprogramming is the foundation of your freedom. Mastering your inner voice is the first step towards true strength. When you manage to speak to yourself with firmness and compassion at the same time, nothing external can break you, because the most important battle is not fought with the world, but within you. And whoever conquers their mind conquers their destiny. 2. Speak to yourself with wisdom. The way you talk to yourself sets the tone for how your soul is trained. Many believe that words are only useful for communicating with others, but the ones that affect you the most are the ones you tell yourself when no one is listening. What you repeat to yourself in solitude has the power to build your peace or destroy your confidence. Therefore, speaking to yourself with wisdom is one of the deepest practices of Stoicism, turning internal dialogue into a tool of personal mastery. When you speak to yourself with wisdom, you don't treat yourself as an enemy to be defeated, but as a disciple you wish to guide. Each thought is a seed, and what you sow with your words ends up blooming in your mind. If every day you repeat phrases of defeat, your brain will start to act as if you were destined to lose. But if you speak to yourself with firmness and purpose, something changes. Not because a miracle appears, but because you start to act from a different energy. Wisdom is not just thinking well, it's choosing well what you tell yourself. Every word you utter internally should have a purpose, to strengthen, not to sink, to teach, not to punish. Speaking to yourself with wisdom does not mean lying to yourself or repeating empty affirmations. It means having the maturity to tell yourself what you need to hear, not what you would like to hear. When you make a mistake, you don't insult yourself, you learn. When you fail, you don't sink, you analyze. When life challenges you, you don't complain, you breathe and respond. That's the difference between the common mind and the trained mind. One reacts, the other reflects. The wise Stoic does not speak to himself as a victim. He doesn't say, "Why me?" But for what? He understands that every situation, even the painful ones, is a lesson wrapped in difficulty. Speaking to yourself with wisdom is having the courage to stay calm when emotion wants to drag you. It's calmly telling yourself, "This too shall pass," even when everything seems to be falling apart. There is a silent force in well-chosen words. When your internal dialogue is filled with clarity, external chaos loses power. In moments of fear, the wise remind themselves, "I have overcome worse things." In moments of doubt, they say, "I have control over my reaction." And in moments of loss, they whisper, "Nothing really belongs to me, only my virtue." This kind of internal conversation is not emotional weakness, it's mental training. Speaking to yourself with wisdom is practicing temperance. It means not exaggerating the bad or idealizing the good. It means keeping the mind in balance when the world leans towards an extreme. If you speak to yourself with clarity, you don't fall into the drama of the insecure mind. You start to notice how the internal noise decreases and your inner voice becomes a guide instead of punishment. Start today. Each morning, dedicate a minute to listen to yourself and correct yourself. If you detect a destructive thought, replace it with one that reminds you of your purpose. If you find yourself criticizing, rephrase that voice to instruct you instead of hurting you. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be aware. The words you choose define the relationship you have with yourself. And remember this, whoever speaks to themselves with wisdom becomes their own master. They don't seek external validation because their internal truth is enough. Their mind is no longer a battlefield, but a fertile ground for growth. He who masters his language masters his destiny. And he who speaks to himself with wisdom builds a life where every thought is an act of strength and freedom. 3. Accept and let go. The loudest noise in your mind does not come from the present, but from what you refuse to let go of. You keep carrying words that should no longer have power over you. You keep repeating past conversations, old disappointments, wounds that you reopen with your own thoughts. It's not the memory that destroys you, it's the resistance. When you speak to yourself from guilt or from the "why didn't I do more?" all you do is keep yourself chained to something that has already ended. The Stoic understands that peace does not come when everything is fixed, but when you accept that not everything has to be. Accepting is not giving up. Accepting is looking at reality head-on without embellishments or excuses. It is having the courage to say, "This is how it was and I can't change it." That phrase, said calmly, has more power than any promise of revenge or regret, because the one who accepts is freed, and the one who is freed can finally move forward. The mind, when it stops fighting against what it cannot control, calms down. And in that calm, the clarity you seek so much appears. Let go of what ties you down, not because you forget, but because you understand. Letting go does not mean erasing the past, but removing its privilege to continue directing your present. You can't keep talking to yourself like the person you were when you didn't know what you know today. You have changed. You have wounds, yes, but you also have lessons. And every time you repeat phrases like, "I'm not worth it, it's too late, nobody changes," you're denying all the growth you've achieved. The one who doesn't let go rots. The one who accepts flourishes. Stoicism teaches that suffering does not come from things, but from the opinions we have about them. If your internal dialogue is full of resistance, life becomes unbearable. But if you speak to yourself with acceptance, even loss becomes a teacher. Tell yourself, "This was also part of the journey." That phrase, simple but honest, has the strength of an internal earthquake. Acceptance gives you back control because you recognize that although you do not choose what happens, you do choose how to respond. Let go of labels, guilt, and reproaches. Let go of the habit of reliving what hurts just to feel alive. You don't need to constantly remind yourself of what failed. You need to remind yourself of what you learned. Speaking to yourself with acceptance is a deep act of self-love. It's stopping treating yourself as the villain of your story and starting to see yourself as the protagonist who continues to write it. Make it a daily exercise. Every time a thought of guilt arises, replace it with understanding. If you failed, say, "I did the best I could with what I knew." If you lost, say, "This teaches me to value differently." And if someone hurt you, say, "That wound no longer directs my life." Speaking to yourself in this way is not weakness, it's practical wisdom. It gives you peace because it frees you from the impossible desire to change the past. Accepting and letting go is a form of emotional intelligence. It's letting what you can't control dissolve without resistance. It's trusting that life, even in its chaos, has an order that only reveals itself when you stop to listen to it. If you can accept calmly and let go with gratitude, nothing can break you. Because whoever masters the art of letting go, masters the art of living. 4. Awaken your inner strength. Most people seek strength in the external, in achievements, in relationships, in the validation of others. But that strength is borrowed, and everything borrowed sooner or later is returned. True strength is born in silence, when you get up once more without anyone seeing you, when you decide not to give up, even though everything inside you asks you to do so. Awakening your inner strength is not about becoming cold or invulnerable, but learning to hold on when everything seems to collapse. It's about finding in your mind a voice that says, "I can still do it," even when the world screams the opposite. Your inner strength does not come from motivation, but from commitment. It's not explosive energy that lasts a day, but constant fire fueled by discipline. Stoicism teaches that the strong man is not the one who never falls, but the one who always gets back on his feet. It's not about eliminating weakness, but learning to direct it. Because within you, there is a part that wants to grow, and another that wants to give up. Wisdom lies in feeding the first until the second is silenced. When you awaken your inner strength, you learn to differentiate between what depends on you and what does not. You stop wasting energy trying to convince others and invest it in mastering yourself. You no longer ask for things to be easy, you ask to be stronger. You no longer run from trials, you face them with serenity. Because you understand that every difficulty is a training. Every obstacle you calmly resist strengthens your character. There is no growth in comfort, nor clarity in complaint. The mind is trained like a muscle with repetition. Every time you choose not to react with anger, you are exercising your control. Every time you choose to move forward without needing approval, you are strengthening your independence. Every time you choose silence over drama, you are shaping your inner power. And most importantly, every time you fall but decide to get up with humility, your soul expands. Because strength is not measured by good days, but by how you behave on dark days. Awakening your inner strength also involves stopping victimizing yourself. No one will come to save you, and that's not bad news, it's freedom. Because the moment you take full responsibility for your life, you regain your power. The Stoic does not lament what he cannot control, he focuses on what he can build. Learn to tell yourself, this belongs to me, this does not. And in that clarity, he finds his peace. Your internal dialogue should be your source of strength, not weakness. Speak to yourself as a warrior preparing for the battle of each day, not as a defeated person repeating excuses. Tell yourself, I can resist a little more. Nothing external defines my worth. I am the master of my mind, not its slave. Repeat these phrases until they are engraved in your thoughts. Because the mind obeys what it hears consistently, and if you train it to believe in your strength, it will act with it even in the most difficult moments. Awakening your inner strength is not about shouting to the world that you are strong. It's about proving it to yourself in silence. It's about moving forward without applause, resisting without witnesses, and standing even when everything inside you trembles. That is the strength that the world cannot break, because it does not depend on anything outside of you. And when you discover that unbreakable source, you understand that true freedom is not in not having falls, but in knowing that no fall can stop you. 5. Choose virtue. Your entire life is a reflection of the choices you make every day, and among all of them, none is as powerful as choosing virtue. In a world where many choose the easy, the immediate, or the convenient, the Stoic chooses the right. Not what gives instant pleasure, but what gives lasting peace. Choosing virtue is not following a rigid code or living under imposed rules. It is consciously deciding to be consistent with yourself, even when no one is watching. It's speaking to yourself honestly when your mind seeks excuses. It's reminding yourself of who you are, especially when the world tries to confuse you. Virtue is the real power, not money, nor status, nor recognition. Because those three disappear in an instant, but virtue remains. The one who chooses virtue lives with a strength that nothing can take away. His mind no longer seeks validation, it seeks integrity. The Stoic understands that every thought, every word, and every action leaves a mark on his soul. Therefore, before acting, he asks himself, does this bring me closer or further away from my best version? That simple question can change the course of your destiny. Choosing virtue is a daily battle against impulsivity. It's having the discipline to think before speaking, to listen before judging, to keep calm when the ego wants to impose itself. The weak mind reacts, the strong mind responds, and that difference comes from inner mastery. When you choose to act with virtue, you don't lose control in the face of anger. You don't stoop to provocation. You don't beg for attention. You maintain your center because you understand that nothing external has power over someone who governs himself. But make no mistake, choosing virtue does not always feel good. Sometimes it hurts. It hurts to tell the truth when it would be easier to lie. It hurts to keep calm when you are hurt. It hurts to let go of what gives you immediate pleasure for something that builds long-term value. But that pain does not destroy, it forges. It is the price paid for a free mind. Every time you choose virtue over impulse, you strengthen your character, and that character becomes your shield against any storm. Virtue also reflects in your internal dialogue. When you speak to yourself with wisdom, you are practicing justice with yourself. When you choose patience, you exercise temperance. When you face your fears without giving up, you cultivate courage. And when you decide to act with awareness instead of automatism, you express wisdom. These are the 4 pillars of Stoicism, the foundations on which an unbreakable mind is built. They are not theories, they are practices. Every day you have the opportunity to apply them in what you think, in how you react, in what you allow within you. Speaking to yourself with virtue is telling yourself the truth without destroying yourself. It's correcting yourself firmly, but also with respect. It's not allowing your mind to fill with excuses, but also not letting it fill with punishments. Virtue is balance, not rigidity. It's clarity, not perfection. It's having the courage to stay true to your values when everyone else sells them for convenience. Choose virtue today, even in small acts. Not because it makes you look good, but because it makes you feel good. Not because the world demands it, but because your conscience thanks you. When you choose virtue, your mind rests. You no longer need to justify yourself, defend yourself, or pretend. You simply live in coherence. And that coherence is the purest form of freedom a human being can achieve. Because in the end, whoever chooses virtue chooses peace. 6. Protect your peace. There are battles that are won by retreating, not out of cowardice, but out of intelligence. Inner peace is not found in a temple or a retreat. It is found when you learn not to engage in wars that are not worth your energy. Your mind is a sacred space. But if you allow anyone to enter with their chaos, with their complaints, or with their poison, you will end up living in constant turmoil. Protecting your peace is an act of discipline, not of isolation. It is having the wisdom to decide which conversations you participate in, which thoughts you feed, and which emotions deserve to stay. Most people live reacting. If someone offends them, they respond with anger. If something goes wrong, they crumble. If they are not understood, they fill with resentment. But the Stoic learns that not everything deserves a response. Not everything that comes to your mind needs to stay. Peace is a choice you make at every moment, not a circumstance you hope to encounter. It does not depend on what happens outside, but on what you allow inside. And that is what distinguishes the wise from the common, the ability to remain calm amidst the noise. Protecting your peace does not mean being indifferent. It means not allowing the external to steal your center. You can listen without absorbing. You can see without reacting. You can feel without losing yourself in what you feel. That is true strength. It's not about escaping the world, but about staying conscious within it. The noise does not destroy you. The habit of listening to everything destroys you. Therefore, every day you must take care of what you let into your mind. Purposeless conversations, other people's dramas, absurd comparisons, thoughts that only repeat insecurities. All this contaminates your clarity and extinguishes your strength. Stoicism teaches that the calm soul sees the truth with greater precision. When you are upset, your judgment is distorted. Your decisions are clouded, and you end up acting from emotion rather than reason. Therefore, protecting peace is not passivity, it is strategy. It is understanding that staying serene gives you an advantage. The one who keeps calm in the midst of chaos always has control. No one can manipulate someone who does not react. No one can dominate someone who knows how to wait. Make your mind a space where only thoughts that strengthen you dwell. Do not allow the voices of fear and criticism to become permanent guests. When you feel that the world is trying to drag you down, remember that you do not have to attend every conflict you are invited to. You can remain silent. You can choose distance. You can say, "I don't need to prove anything." That phrase, said with conviction, is more powerful than any shout. Protecting your peace also involves setting boundaries and maintaining them even if it hurts. There are people who do not understand your silence and interpret it as coldness. It doesn't matter. Peace does not need explanations. There will be situations that seem unfair, but you do not need to fight each one of them. The wise choose their battles because they know that their energy is limited and their tranquility invaluable. When you talk to yourself, speak from calmness. Tell yourself, "Not everything deserves my reaction. I am learning to let go of what I cannot control. My serenity is my strength." Repeat these words until they are engraved in your subconscious. Because the world will continue trying to steal your peace, but if your mind is trained, they will not be able to touch you. 7. Reprogram your mind. Your mind is the narrator of your life. Everything you believe to be possible or impossible is born in the story that this narrator repeats over and over again within you. If in its script there is only fear, guilt, and defeat, no matter how many opportunities appear, you will always find a way to sabotage them. But if you start to change the story, the course also changes. Reprogramming the mind is not repeating empty phrases in front of the mirror. It is changing the entire system from which you think, feel, and act. It's about dismantling the old beliefs that keep you on autopilot and replacing them with ideas that make you move forward. What you constantly think becomes your identity. If you tell yourself that you can't, your brain will look for evidence to confirm it. If you tell yourself it's hard, your mind will make it even more complicated. But if you choose to speak to yourself firmly, even if you don't fully believe it, the brain will start to build new paths. It's science and philosophy at the same time. What you repeat, you create. The Stoics knew this. That's why they insisted on watching thoughts with the same care that a warrior takes care of his sword. Because the mind, without direction, attacks its own master. Reprogramming your mind means to stop feeding the thoughts that take away your power. Every time you tell yourself that you are not enough, you are programming yourself to act from insecurity. Every time you complain without taking action, you reinforce the idea that you have no control. The real transformation begins when you become aware of this dialogue. When instead of repeating, "Everything goes wrong for me," you stop and ask, "What can I learn from this?" That pause, that second of clarity, is the beginning of a new mental programming. Your mind is malleable, but it needs repetition. One day of motivation is not enough. You must train it every day like you train the body. At first it's hard, it hurts, it seems useless. But with consistency, it becomes natural. A positive thought, consciously repeated daily, has the power to erase years of self-criticism. What today seems like a mental effort, tomorrow will be your new instinct. Because the mind learns what it practices most, and if you practice serenity, serenity becomes your nature. The Stoics understood that external life is a reflection of the internal dialogue. If you want a more peaceful, stronger, fuller existence, start by cleaning the words you use with yourself. Don't say, "I'm tired of everything." Say, "I need to sort out my priorities." Don't say, "I'm not good at this." Say, "I'm still learning." Don't say, "Nobody values me." Say, "I'm going to value myself more." This kind of language is not naive, it's strategic. It shapes your brain to focus on solutions instead of sinking into problems. Reprogramming your mind also involves learning to question what you think. Not everything that crosses your mind is true. Ask yourself where those ideas come from, who told you them, and why you believed them. Maybe you've been obeying a voice that isn't even yours for years. Maybe you're repeating fears inherited from others. Wisdom begins when you decide not to believe everything you think. Speaking to yourself with wisdom, acceptance, and clarity is the basis of this reprogramming. It's not about becoming someone who never doubts, but someone who is not dominated by their doubts. Every word you pronounce within you is an order that your mind executes. Make sure the orders are the right ones. 8. Transform your dialogue. The words you tell yourself are not just mental sounds. They are codes that rewrite the way you perceive the world. Each sentence you utter within you carries an invisible weight that shapes your reality. If your inner dialogue is full of complaints, fear, or self-loathing, your mind becomes a minefield. But if you transform those words into conscious affirmations, your mind becomes a fertile garden. Transforming your dialogue is not pretending that everything is fine. It's changing the tone with which you talk to yourself when things are not. Because what you tell yourself in difficult times defines your destiny more than any external circumstance. Most people are not victims of others. They are victims of their own language. They call themselves clumsy. They tell themselves they're failures. They repeat to themselves that they're good for nothing. And the most tragic thing is that they do it without realizing it. What starts as a joke becomes a habit, and what is frequently repeated ends up being believed. Transforming your dialogue means becoming aware of this silent poison and replacing it with words that propel you instead of sinking you. It means talking to yourself like a leader who trains his mind to resist, not like an enemy seeking punishment. Stoicism teaches that the mind feeds on what it consumes. If you surround yourself with noise, negative thoughts, and defeatist speeches, you can't expect clarity or inner power. Therefore, every word you choose must be an act of self-governance. Tell yourself phrases that strengthen your character. I am capable of staying calm. I am learning to master my emotions. My worth does not depend on what happens outside. These words are not fantasies, they are mental anchors that remind you of your control. Transforming your dialogue does not mean denying pain, but directing it. When something hurts you, don't tell yourself, I shouldn't have trusted. Say, now I know who to trust better. When you fail, don't repeat, I'm a mess. Say, this teaches me to improve. When you feel fear, don't tell yourself, I can't. Say, I'm going to try calmly. This is how you transform destructive energy into growth. What you say changes what you feel, and what you feel changes what you do. It's a cycle of power that is activated every time you choose to speak to yourself with emotional intelligence. Your inner dialogue is the script of your mind. If you don't write it, fear will. That's why transformation begins with vigilance. Listen to what you tell yourself before you sleep, when you fail, when you compare yourself, when you look in the mirror. This is where true Stoic practice is born. Not in books, but in the conversation you have with yourself in moments of silence. Speaking to yourself with virtue and serenity is not a spiritual luxury. It's a tool for mental survival. Transformation requires repetition and patience. No change happens in a day, but 2 days of conscious practice are enough to create a crack in the darkness. If each morning you choose a phrase that reflects wisdom, one that anchors you in calm and keeps you away from drama, your mind will start to respond differently. The tone changes, the energy changes, and over time your life does too. Transforming your dialogue is a way to be reborn without changing bodies, to cleanse without forgetting, to build without starting from scratch. It's deciding that the words that come out of your mind are tools, not weapons. When you achieve that, you no longer need to seek motivation from outside. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. If you watched the whole thing, comment, I am Stoic, as our secret signal to know that you're a true student of Stoicism. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video, and remember, keep cultivating your Stoic mind.